Hi, my name is Leo. This is my first time doing anything like this, so I apologize if it's a little messy or a little awkward. I'm still learning. But yeah, today's going to be a sketchbook tour. We're going to go through 3 of my sketchbooks. This one is from my senior year of high school, so that would be 2024, so a couple years ago. Definitely not representative of who I am currently as an artist, but still fun memories. So yeah, let's take a peek. That's a it's a stamp of myself that I made with my little sister. Yeah, so this sketchbook, I would say I was struggling pretty bad through art block for most of it, and you can kind of tell just because it's not as filled out as some of my other books, but just gotta keep drawing. I was really, at the time, I was carrying around a pencil case that was just absolutely stuffed full of basically anything that I could get in there. Colored pens, highlighters, markers, pencils. Yeah, I had these little, I'll have to find the brand, but they were these like colored, I did not draw this page. They were like these little colored fine liners, and they were my favorite ever. And I think I used all of them. Yeah, you can see again the pink and the blue right there. I used all of them in this sketchbook. That by the time that this year was over, I didn't have any left. But yeah, lots of drawing from life in this one, observational doodles, mostly of teachers and classmates and just the rooms that I was in. So just kind of trying to figure out how things work together. These were Dark Souls OCs that me and my partner made. This is a plan for a painting that I did, and then some sketches of a jazz ensemble. Yeah, a little bit messy, but my heart was in the right place. I love to do these full spreads where it's just a whole scene. I think it's really valuable practice. Still try and do that sometimes. Then we got this study in shading that I did with some Copic markers. These are just portraits off of Pinterest. This was, my family took a trip to Mexico to see the solar eclipse, and it was awesome. So these are all just more or less doodles from that trip. We stayed in a really, really cool hotel that was like right on the beach. We were in Mazatlan. It was awesome. Yeah, so that was the view of like the pool/lounge area. And we got some Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, classic. Yeah, I had to draw Sonic the other day for my comics class, and it was like walking down memory lane. My dad and my sister drew the guy on the left there. That is not, it's not my art, I fear. Yeah, lots of sticky notes. When you're drawing with pen, instead of trying to just erase it or make it work, you just slap a sticky note on it. I think I took that from Dana Terrace. I saw one of her Instagram posts once, and she had done that. I was like, whoa, that's so smart. Miku page. Oh man, I remember when I started this sketchbook, I had it in my heart. I was like, this is gonna be my CalArts sketchbook. It's gonna be perfect. And then by like page 3, I was like, nah, the next one. I'll get on with the next one. And then I didn't even end up applying to CalArts. I go to SAIC, which is it's a great school in terms of like the teachers and the other students. Not so much the admin, but that's any institution. Yeah. Got some JoJo's fan art, some Trans Femme Kakyoin, of course. And that painting right there, it was my senior year, second semester, and my art teacher really wanted me to do a life-size self-portrait. And it was like the only thing that I worked on. I would get to school, I didn't really go to any of my other classes because it was like second semester senior year, and I would just go straight to the art room, and then I would sit there in agony for like hours, and he would come and be like, how's it going? I'm like, I don't want to do this. And so I was doodling stuff in paint in my sketchbook. These are from the aquarium. I went on a trip with my buddies, Monterey Bay, the one from the second Finding Nemo movie. It was lovely. So much empty space. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely still guilty of this, but I feel like I did get better. More JoJo's. Me and my brother in the kayak. That's the triple layer bunk bed that I shared with my 2 younger sisters my senior year of high school. Rough. That was a rough semester. It was fun though. Definitely a lot of intention to come back and clean things up, and I never got around to it. Try and be better about that now. I keep to-do lists. Go back and add something on that page. Sometimes I do. Keywords sometimes. Oh, this was okay, next page I guess. That's my sister's band. She's not actually in it anymore, but she was for a while. I'm still friends with the other people. They're all very cool. Check out Mind. This was a trip that my family took to San Francisco. So I did two different perspectives here of a little park that we ate dinner in. And then that was the breakfast at the place we were staying. That was like right before I left for school. So I live in California, and then I moved out to Chicago to go to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Okay, so this sketchbook is actually from my first semester of my freshman year, and if I had art block before, it was like 100 times worse. That first semester was terrible. I didn't get into the class that I wanted, and so I was just kind of like really sour about it. It gets better, but yeah, it's scary moving to a big city. It's my first time living anywhere that had like public transit or like big buildings. Come from a small town, but it was really fun. It was very valuable. It is very valuable. I mean, I'm still going to school here. I still live here. But yeah, same issue with the blank space. Oh, and I guess this sketchbook onward too, there's a lot of pages that are just notes. But I still think they look cool. I like taking notes. Yeah, so this was I took a comics class my first semester because I didn't get into the animation class. It filled up too fast. And so we had to take a character from like a piece of media that we knew how to draw, and we had to draw them in 60 seconds and then 50 and then 40, etc., etc. So I did Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. That class was actually super fun. It was all analog, so no digital illustrations, which totally kicked my ass. I was not prepared for it, which is what made it so valuable. But when it came time to do the final project, it was supposed to be a 12-page comic, and our teacher was like, if you guys want to use a digital medium, you can for the final. And so I did. And then on that final crit, we were all going around, we were hanging up our stuff on the walls, and I'd printed mine out. And then when we got to mine, one of the people in my class was like, whoa, who drew this? And I was like, oh, this is mine. And they were like, whoa, I didn't know you could actually draw. And I was like, ooh, fair, I guess. Yeah, we used a lot of ink, like nibs, which I was totally unfamiliar with that. It was a good challenge. Yeah, India ink, brush pens. It was really cool. This was from my art history class. I had like the most awesome TA in that class. I sat up at the very front next to the TAs because I didn't know anybody else. It was lovely. This class was like maybe the coolest class I've ever taken. It was called Wizards, and it was a first year seminar, which is like an English course. And our teacher, I have him again this semester actually. He's just like this super smart guy. He has a PhD in divinity, and he just knows a ton about like esotericism and like mysticism and religion and like magic. Yeah, that's the class. It was super cool. Some really good readings. And we got to watch Howl's Moving Castle, which, like, I will never complain about that in a class setting. This is a JoJo's character that me and my friend were brainstorming. This was scripting for comics. Ooh, a fursuit that I planned out and then never actually made. Yeah, classic. More JoJo's character stuff. This was for I had to take a class called Research 1, and we had to do like a poster design thing, but it was like a group project, and so it was supposed to be like come up with a political activist message and then make a poster design for it, but like nobody could agree on anything, so it was just like super watered down. I don't remember what we ended up going with. It was something about money. That was the view out of my window when I was in the dorms. That's my partner. Yeah, getting back into the observational sketches a little bit. That was out of the train window. I think that's off the blue line. Or no, I think it was the red line actually. Yeah, these are more stuff for comics, just little thumbnails. Definitely, I feel in this sketchbook I start to branch out a little bit, and you can see I'm like starting to develop my style a little bit more. Definitely not there yet, but just figuring things out, which I think that's what school is for. I hear a lot of people say, like, if you're going to be an artist, you don't really need to go to art school as long as your portfolio is good enough. But I think that there are a lot of people who maybe have like an understanding of what they need to do technically, but then not as much of an understanding about kind of what they want to say with their art, or what their niche really is. And I think that art school is really good for helping you figure that out. And of course, not everybody needs that, but still it's very valuable. So this was for my comics midterm. I think it was a six-page comic, and so I wanted to make mine about Joan of Arc because she's the coolest ever. So I was just trying to flesh out a style. These diagrams were for a class I had to take called the Core Studio, which was just kind of like it's a class that every freshman has to take to kind of like familiarize everybody with the different shops that we have at the school, so like the wood shop and whatever. And I made like a little box that was lined with mirrors, and I designed it in Adobe Illustrator, and then I used the Adobe Illustrator file to laser cut like a thin layer of MDF, and for the life of me I could not get the measurements right. Like, you can see it just keeps popping up in the book. I was so confused, and I ended up cutting the first one and then realizing that I'd done it wrong, and I gave up on Adobe Illustrator, and I learned how to 3D model, and then I built a cube, and then I took the measurements of the cube, and then I was like, okay, that's what I have to do. So, pretty roundabout way. But yeah, that was freshman year. Pretty solid. You can see my little sticker collection right there. And so then this is my second semester. And this sketchbook, oh my gosh, when I got it, I didn't realize, because I got it from Blick, and they keep the moleskin sketchbooks wrapped in plastic, and so I didn't read the description enough, and I didn't realize that it was a like super thin paper. You're gonna see it in a second here. You can see it's like almost translucent. Yeah. And so I was like really pissed off about it at first because everything looked like kind of silly, but I think I got the hang of it a little bit into it, and then it was fun. It made me be like less precious with it. So I wasn't taking things as seriously. And I think that that's important. I think that a lot of people get caught up in the details and in making things look pretty, and that's not what a sketchbook is for. It's for getting ideas down and working through stuff. It was kind of annoying though, like the bleeding from the pen. But yeah, these are characters for an ongoing comic project that I'm working on. Comic/animation, I don't really know. It's a story that I'm working on. Margot and Monique. I'll have a link to my portfolio website in the description, and you can see the comic that I made for them. and then some animations of Monique as well. Yeah, little goblin guys. This was, I found like one of those like lumber pencils, like the ones that are shaped super weird. So much fun to draw with. That's my dad and my mom. And I think everything before that was over winter break, and this was when I got back to Chicago. Yeah, because I went with some buddies and we went to Chinatown and we got some really delicious noodles and we walked around and it was so cold outside. I'm a California baby. I was not ready for the Chicago winters. It was so bad this year, but it's exciting. So these two are for a project that I was doing. I took a class called, something paracosms. It was about world building. And so the whole class, we had to come up with a world and then just spend the whole semester like investigating it and interrogating it and like deciding all these little tiny things, like who lives there, what's the climate, what are the different like land masses, what are the politics. And it was so much fun. And so I had for my final project for that class, I made I want to say a 10-page comic. That's also on my website, but they pop up quite a bit in this book. Yeah, I got to take an animation class this semester. It was all like traditional animation, so I used pen, so like ink on actual paper, and I've never done anything like that before, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. It was difficult and challenging, but I mean, I think that's what a class should be. These were boards for a sequence idea that I had that I never ended up cleaning up. It's like two guys on an airplane, and one of them's like a really nervous flyer, and the other one's like super chill. Yeah, I don't know. Skibbity toilet. Anybody? Yeah? In the big year 2026? Yeah, these are more observational sketches. It's on the train. Some really, really awesome fish. And then my friend Avery. Gosh, I wonder where my Poscas are. I should find them, dig them out again. Those were the Posca pens on that paper. That was so much fun. Very colorful. These were, I was designing tramp stamp ideas. Wanted to do something with fish. And then that was my 19th birthday. I don't know. I don't remember why we drew that. It was me and my partner doodled that. It was fun. It was a good birthday. I had everybody over and we made little tiny pizzas in the dorms. And then sat around and played card games. It was pretty solid. It's on the train again. Just drawing people. This was planning out shots for my animation midterm. Oh, that's that one lady from that one show. My coworker asked me to draw her and it looked so bad I never showed them. Oh, again with the blank space though. Yikes. Come on, Leo. Yeah, this was trying out different hatching styles for shading. And this was in New York. So me and my coworkers for spring break, we went and we stayed in a little tiny hotel. We traveled all around. That was such a fun trip. It's my little scrapbook collection of receipts. That was super cool. New York is awesome. So these are more just highlighter doodles. I think there's something really special about using like not super traditional materials for observational sketches specifically. And I think anything that's like ink based or like non-erasable, like a pen or a marker or whatever, like it really just like forces you to not be precious about it, and then you don't have to dwell on things. These are for a project that I did with my friends. So these were boards for an actual was live action. It was a video sequence, and it was a challenge that my school hosted where it was called 48 24 12. So you had 48 hours. I don't know what the 24 stood for, but it was like 12 minutes max. But it was team of people, and then you had 48 hours to record and then edit and like finish a short film. And so we did a project called Team Awesome, and it was like a heist. It was like a campy heist action sequence thing. It was super fun. Yeah, these are more JoJo fan art. Keep coming back to that. This was back home. I think this must have been Thanksgiving break, probably. Or no, maybe it was... It wouldn't have been Thanksgiving break. It was probably spring break, or maybe no, it was the beginning of summer. Yeah, I think it was the beginning of summer. So this was back in California. These are just some portraits. Again, trying to figure out like drawing from life and then how that can apply to more stylized pieces. These are my sister's cats. That was when I went to the lake with some of my friends who were in high school. It was senior ditch day, and I went to the lake and I took one hit off of my friend's bong, and I greened out so bad that I literally have not smoked weed since. It was awful. I started that drawing and then I was like, oh, I need to lie down. Yeah, don't do drugs, kids. This is the view out of my kitchen window. And I did that with highlighters, pens, and crayons. So definitely mixing things up with fun mediums. It's my little sister. I think she was doing a sewing project. I don't remember. Both my sisters are like super artsy, crafty, creative. It's my backyard. So that again, that was like crayons, highlighter, colored pencil, and then Poscas. It's definitely branching out a little bit. This was a high school band concert that my friends and my sister were in. Those are my dogs. And then these characters are for animated project idea that I had. I think they'll pop up again, but I did some boards, and then I had some animated turnarounds that you can find on my website if you're curious. I definitely feel like this sketchbook kind of peaks a little bit in terms of showing like my style, or like my style of sketchbooks, because after this one, or maybe it's after the next one, I feel like I go back to just really using pencil and pen, and there's a lot less color, and it's like a lot less observational drawing. So I have all of these environments. That was at a McDonald's with my friend. We went in there and we just sat there and didn't get anything. We just hung out. Yeah, stuff like this. I don't really do this anymore, and I think it's more so just a time thing. I don't really sit down and just observe and draw, but it's so important. Just make things look pretty. Yeah, so that was in my backyard. It was pre-top surgery. Wow. It's me and my brother. This was pizza night. My dad, he got a pizza oven for Father's Day. And then over the summer, we would have people over and we would all just hang out in the backyard, and he'd be making pizza like all night. It was lovely. Chicago's great, but man, I miss California. I'm in my second semester right now. And I really love and appreciate school, but I am excited to not live in Chicago anymore. It's nice here, but it's hard to beat California. It's my sister, my brother, my cousin, and then Those guys on the left, my sister drew them. I think we were at my grandpa's birthday. We were just doodling. Just drawing goofy stuff together. Same goes for this page. It's my partner's dogs and kitchen sink, I guess. This was at the lake, just watching people go by in a canoe. That was the most awesome dinner date ever. We went to Color Me Mine and we made mugs together, and then we went to this super fancy restaurant and we got like the most delicious pasta and the most delicious salmon of all time ever. It's fantastic. This was in Yosemite. There was like a little raven hopping around and we kept feeding him cherries. And he was so smart. He would hold the little cherry with his talons, then he would pick the stem out, and then he would pick the seed out. Spit it over. Yeah, so that's second semester freshman year and then summer break. And then this sketchbook, I think, picks up right where that one left off. Summer break into first semester, second year. Yeah. Pretty good stickers on this one. Pretty solid. So no intro page, we just get right into it. That's Sarah and Donnie. They're from the class in the comic that I mentioned. And this book's kind of falling apart a little bit. I brought it with me everywhere. That summer was so much fun. Just went a lot of places and did a lot of things. It's good to have your sketchbook on you. If you are an artist, don't go anywhere without your sketchbook. Get a little one like this. I think it fits in my pocket, which is nice. I mean, I have big pockets, but just something that you can grab when you're leaving. It's my partner's dog. His name is Dexter. He looks like a little weird tapestry animal. Yeah, more observational drawings. So that page right there, the purple ink, I didn't draw that. That was my friend Z, I think, I would assume. He drew me and my buddy Avery. We all had a class together. I remember this perfectly. This was the night before I got top surgery. I was so nervous. I was in the waiting room. I think this is like way after, because I didn't draw for a while I was in recovery. But my recovery was really smooth. It was really easy. I'm almost a full year post-op. Great results. Shout out to the Gender Confirmation Center in San Francisco. Would recommend. Okay, so this was first day back in Chicago. I was 4 weeks post-op. My dad flew out with me because I couldn't lift my arms up, and so he was worried about me unpacking. Yeah, so I was just getting back into the swing of things. That's a drawing of me that my friend/roommate did. These were all people I saw out of the window at the school cafeteria. This was trying new style. Some contour doodles. This was when I was on mushrooms. I think that this picks up again a few more pages from now. Yeah. Me and my friend, we didn't have a digital scale. We didn't have any scale. But I knew that I'd paid for 5 grams. And so I figured if I split it, like eyeballed it pretty evenly, we'd be good. But like, man, we both took way too much. It was not a good trip. It was fun. Part of it was fun. But yeah, gotta be careful with that stuff. It's a drawing of my partner. We're on the phone. I think in the top left there, that's Avery's character that she doodled. Sometimes okay, here we go. These are the rest of the the mushroom drawings. Oh, it's really, really special stuff. Yeah, that's Avery's character again. And And then this was notes from a lecture that our school hosted, where they had this guy who works at Warner Bros. Come and talk about his experience. He was an alum from SAIC, his experience graduating there, and then the kind of work he did before ending up with Warner Bros. He does like game development stuff. And it was pretty cool. That was at the airport. I remember because the guy with the hat walked by and looked at my sketchbook, and he was like, he could see that I was drawing him. Then we made really awkward and terrible eye contact. Does that ever happen to you guys? Like, you're in a public space and you're doing some just like people watching, doing a little sketching, and then they like notice that you're drawing them. It's terrible. It's the most awkward thing. You gotta wear sunglasses, and then people don't know you're looking at them. This was I took a visual communication class, and so we had to take our initials and turn them into like a logo, and that was actually really fun. That class was like mind-numbingly boring / easy because it was just kind of it was an intro class, so it was really more so going over like how to use Adobe Illustrator, and it was like just so much busy work. But I was in that class with like a lot of really fun people, and the teacher was such a sweetheart. These are all from studies on composition. So I woke up early and I went over to the Art Institute, and I got to walk around. It was like practically empty. It was like a Thursday morning, I think. I just got to walk around and take notes on the different paintings. It was fun. It was very art school of me. I was in one of these tiny cafes on our campus, and I hadn't eaten anything because I'd woken up late, and so I went to my first class, and then I had like 4 hours before my next class, and so I just sat there and I had like 3 cups of black coffee, and I was tweaking. But I made it to class, and I took my notes. All was well. Really interesting looking back through these, because this is literally just like not like 5 months ago, maybe less, no, like 5 months ago, and like I feel like I have developed my style so much more, but you can like see it starting to come through just a little bit. Just gotta keep drawing and refining things. This was a little charcoal self-portrait that I did. Doodles. That was at the airport. I really liked that pen. I don't know where it went, the gray one. The blue one I used until it had no ink left in it. Yeah, there we go. It was on the airplane. I love in sketchbook tours seeing the like POV shots like that. I love when people do that. I think it's so funny. It's a good practice too. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for sticking around. I'm gonna upload a couple more videos after this one with some older sketchbooks. Got one from 2023, and then I have another one that's like right before the first one in this video. And then I have a little bit of my current sketchbook as well, so just like a little sneak preview. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Let me know what your sketchbooks look like. What's your favorite kind of pen to use?